ChatGPT just crossed 1 billion monthly active users. To put that in perspective, that's 1 in every 8 people on Earth using it every single month. But here's the shocking part. This happened while public sentiment about AI has never been more negative. Think about it. Americans are increasingly saying they distrust AI. They're worried about jobs disappearing, about AI hallucinating and spreading misinformation, about deepfakes, about their privacy. Yet there it is, 1 billion people, many of them the very same people expressing those concerns, actively using ChatGPT every single month. It's like everyone saying they hate smartphones while physically unable to put their phone down, or everyone agreeing that social media is destroying our brains while still scrolling for 3 hours straight. This paradox is genuinely historic. What we are seeing is the deepest contradiction in tech right now. On the surface, the world tells politicians and researchers it's afraid of AI, but the actual behavior, people's fingers on keyboards, typing prompts into ChatGPT, tells a completely different story. ChatGPT isn't just an app people tried once. It's become essential, and the adoption is accelerating, not slowing down, despite the backlash. So how did we get here? How did an AI tool shatter adoption records in an era when everyone's supposed to be terrified of artificial intelligence? Let's rewind to November 2022. OpenAI released ChatGPT into the world and it exploded. Within 2 months, it hit 1 million users. Within 5 months, 100 million. Nobody had ever seen consumer adoption move that fast. It wasn't the fanciest AI, it was just ridiculously useful, and it was free. By early 2023, ChatGPT had become the talk everywhere. Students were using it to write essays. Programmers were using it to debug code. Marketing teams were using it to brainstorm campaigns. It felt like the future had arrived, and everyone wanted a piece of it. But then something shifted. As ChatGPT got more prevalent, the media started pointing out the problems. There were headlines about AI destroying jobs, stories about ChatGPT making up facts and inventing fake citations, concerns about election manipulation. Artists and writers started filing lawsuits, claiming their work had been used to train the AI without permission. Elon Musk signed an open letter calling for an AI pause. Political leaders started talking about regulation. By 2024 and 2025, you couldn't scroll through news without seeing another warning. AI will destroy more jobs than it creates. AI is a threat to democracy. AI can't be trusted. The backlash was real, it was loud, and it was everywhere. Yet ChatGPT kept growing. Where it gets interesting is how this adoption accelerated during the backlash, not before it. So why exactly is the backlash so intense? Let's break down the real concerns, because they are not paranoia, they are legitimate. First, jobs. AI is demonstrably replacing certain roles. Customer service reps are being laid off because ChatGPT handles common queries. Graphic designers are worried because AI image generators can do their work faster. Programmers are nervous because Copilot-style tools can write decent code. And if you're a copywriter, translator, or data analyst, you're already seeing AI tools that can do your job. The fear is concrete and justified. Second, misinformation. ChatGPT confidently makes things up. It's called hallucination. The AI generates plausible sounding but false information. Someone feeds it a false premise, it builds on that false premise convincingly. Imagine this reaching election season. Imagine disinformation spreading at scale. That's a real threat to how democracies function. Third, privacy. Your data goes into open AI systems. Some countries have already banned ChatGPT in government offices because of data sovereignty concerns. Fourth, environmental impact. Training massive AI models consumes vast amounts of energy. Running them at billion-user scale means massive carbon footprint. That's not trivial. And finally, corporate concentration. One company, effectively Microsoft now, controls the most powerful AI millions of people use daily. There's an antitrust concern there. But here's what makes this situation so strange. Knowing all this, people keep using ChatGPT anyway. Here's how ChatGPT became indispensable. Walk through a typical day in 2026. You wake up and check your email. Your email client has ChatGPT built in suggesting replies. You're on Windows or Mac. ChatGPT is already there in your system. You open Slack at work and your team's using ChatGPT to To summarize threads and draft proposals, you need a status update written. ChatGPT does it in seconds instead of minutes. A student has an essay due. They ask ChatGPT to explain the topic, create an outline, suggest arguments. It's like having a free tutor. Teachers know this is happening and have accepted it. A small business owner needs social media content. ChatGPT generates captions, post ideas, blog outlines. Without it, they'd need to hire someone. Instead, they use the AI and reinvest the savings. None of these are the intended scientific research use case, but they are how real people use ChatGPT. Daily, casually, often without thinking about it. It's become ambient, just part of working. People don't consciously decide to use it anymore. They just do. It's as automatic as using a search engine. And here's what the headlines aren't telling you. Many of these same people, when you ask them about AI in general, will tell you they distrust it. They worry about corporate control. They're concerned about the implications, but they still pull up ChatGPT before moving on with their day. Let's put the 1 billion number in context. How fast is this really? TikTok reached 1 billion monthly active users. That's one of the fastest growing apps ever. It took them several years. Instagram reached 1 billion. That took even longer, years of consistent growth before hitting that milestone. Snapchat reached 500 million and plateaued there. WhatsApp reached 2 billion, but it took a decade to get there. Now ChatGPT. 1 billion in roughly less than 2 years from launch. The growth curve is unlike anything we've seen in consumer tech before. This isn't just fast. This is historically fast. And it's not like ChatGPT has 1 billion people using it once and moving on. These are monthly active users, people who come back, often multiple times per week, sometimes daily. Engagement is high, it's sticky. People have made it part of their routine. Compare that to how public concern about AI is also accelerating. Lawsuits are increasing, regulation is tightening, media coverage of AI risks is amplifying. So we have this very unusual situation, adoption curve going up and concern curve going up at the same time. That's not how tech adoption usually works. But with ChatGPT, the backlash isn't slowing adoption. Both are accelerating together. And that's just the beginning of what makes this moment historically significant. What does this gap between fear and behavior actually mean? One interpretation: people are hypocritical, saying one thing and doing another. But I think it's more nuanced. People instinctively know that AI is here. They know it's useful. They can feel that it's becoming essential. Simultaneously, they're genuinely concerned about the future. Both are true. The contradiction doesn't feel contradictory when you're living it. It's like how people know cars cause pollution and accidents, yet own cars because walking everywhere is impractical, or how people know social media is addictive, yet use it because their friends are there. The difference is speed. Cars took decades to become universal. Social media took years. ChatGPT did it in months. We are in a moment where adoption is outrunning psychological comfort. Most people haven't fully processed what a world with AI as infrastructure means. They're adapting behaviorally, using it, integrating it into workflows, while still processing it emotionally. The fear is real. The utility is also real. Here's the crucial part. Once something becomes indispensable, the conversation changes. It stops being "should we adopt this?" and becomes "okay, it's here. How do we govern it responsibly?" The 1 billion users milestone means we've officially crossed the point where AI isn't optional anymore. It's the baseline now. So how do you navigate this world where you're using an AI you're skeptical about? First, be honest about what you're trading. Every time you use ChatGPT, you're exchanging data for convenience. OpenAI learns from your questions. Microsoft, as an investor, profits from your usage. That's how the business works. No, that's the deal. Second, understand where skepticism is valid. AI is impressive, but it's not magic. It's a pattern matching tool trained on human text. It doesn't understand the way humans do. It confidently generates false information sometimes, so use it to accelerate your work, not replace your thinking. Don't ask it for medical advice without a real doctor. Don't ask for legal advice without a lawyer, but use it to brainstorm, draft, explain, research. It's genuinely useful for those things. Third, stay informed about policy. AI regulation is happening right now. The European Union has already passed strict rules. The United States is still figuring it out. China is regulating heavily. Your government will eventually decide how AI can be used. If you passively use AI without thinking about governance, those decisions get made without your input. The real skill for the next decade is knowing when to use AI and when to think for yourself. Most people are at the wow, AI is useful stage. The next stage is being thoughtful about where it belongs. So here's what the 1 billion users milestone actually means for you. The gap between public fear and private usage is the defining tension of the AI era. We're living through a moment where people simultaneously distrust AI and can't live without it. That gap closes through understanding what you're trading, recognizing where your skepticism is justified, and staying informed about policy. The real story isn't that 1 billion people use ChatGPT. It's that AI became infrastructure so fast we didn't have time for necessary conversations about what that means. And now we are playing catch-up. What to watch next, regulation, safety standards, and how companies respond when people demand accountability. The adoption phase is over. The governance phase is just beginning. That's where the real tension between fear and behavior finally gets resolved. We are at an inflection point. For the first time in consumer tech history, adoption and concern are rising simultaneously. What you do now, whether you stay informed, whether you think critically about where AI belongs in your life, whether you engage with governance conversations, that actually matters. Follow for daily AI news and let me know in the comments, where do you actually stand on this paradox? Do you use AI while worrying about it, or have you made peace with it?